Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to Iron United's preview. Molyneux away from home on what do you even know what day it is? A Wednesday night, 7:30 kickoff live on Amazon Prime. Of course, we do previews for all the games. We haven't had these guys on for a while. Richard, Luke, nice to have you back on. Of course, I'm Anton. We are live. Get your comments in. Let us know your thoughts on what we're talking about. Richard Farsson, Johannesburg, Molyneux, 7:30 kickoff away from home on the back of a win against Chelsea. Wolves, how do you rate them?
They started off slowly this season, but they're finding some form now. If they get a result against us, they'd be unbeaten in 10 in the league, which is quite a decent achievement, especially considering having to balance European football as well. And obviously they did the double over us last season, so I'm not that confident. But we did just go and beat Chelsea, so why the fuck not? We could get a result. Who knows?
Yep. I mean, they've also got Europa League football this year. Look, I mean, we know how West Ham and other teams have coped when we've got European football and also Premier League football. But Wolves, so far, for them, seem to be handling that all right. I mean, should that really be having an effect, or what is it the Wolves have got that other teams don't have?
Billions of pound investment and a world-class agent that's buying a load of Portuguese players and bringing them in, which most teams in the Premier League don't seem to have. But yeah, they're a good team. Wolves. They've bounced back since they come back in the Premier League, and it's quite funny because even though we've gone and beaten Chelsea, and everyone's up on a high and stuff like that, this is the perfect type of game to test us to see if we actually are we back on the up, or was it just not a flash in the pan result against Chelsea? But I'm not confident really. I wasn't confident for the Chelsea game, but look how that turned out. So who knows? You know, they might be terrible, knackered and what have you. They might have other things in their mind, but we might come up and say, no, you know, we'll beat Chelsea. We can beat you as well. So uh, yeah, we'll see what happens really.
Rich, you obviously have been following quite a few of, you've got quite good knowledge of the Premier League. What is it about Wolves that teams are worried about in particular? What kind of players? I mean, what's their style of play?
Yeah, obviously their midfield three is quite a close-knit unit. They've got all their Portuguese men in the middle of the park, Neves, Moutinho, both really good ball players. And then going forward, they're devastating on the counter-attack. You look at someone like Adama Traore, who didn't really play much last season. He's been starting almost every game for them this season in the league, and he is an absolute bulldozer when he gets going. Jimenez is a good striker. He's going to bang 10 to 15 goals every season. But I just think Adama Traore, he's like Mikel Antonio. You know, they're the same type of player, both explosive, both very strong. So he's definitely someone we're going to have to watch out for.
You mentioned Jimenez, the Mexican striker. Did we sign the wrong Mexican striker? Because at one point we were linked to Jimenez. Obviously, we know Hernandez is gone, but did we sign the wrong one there, Rich?
At the time, I thought Hernandez was a great signing. Don't get me wrong. You know, I was buzzing when we got him in because he was tearing up the Bundesliga. But Jimenez is just, he offers more. You know, he's stronger. He's got more pace. He wants to get in behind, and he's hungry, and that's why he's been scoring the goals that he has. I think he's got 4 and 6 now or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's deadly, and hopefully we can just get our strikers to do the business rather than worrying about the other teams.
Absolutely. Look, Wolves have matched the top flight unbeaten record that was set way back in 1973 after holding Sheffield United for a 1-1 draw. They've extended their streak without a defeat to 9 games, which is winning 4, drawing 5 since mid-September. West Ham have obviously just, come off that terrible run of games with a great result against Chelsea. I mean, at Molyneux, what was your thoughts of Wolves at Molyneux? I mean, I've given you some stats there. I mean, is it something that we'll come on to West Ham in a minute, but what is it that Nuno's doing at Wolves that's making them this force to contend with?
Well, reading those stats, that's got West Ham 3-0 win written all over it because they haven't, lost in so long. There's bound to happen now. So cheers for them stats. That's a nice one. I don't know. They've just bounced from being in the Championship and having Neves, who was obviously too good for the Championship. When you've got a player in there like that. Like we a bit like we had Kevin Nolan at West Ham when we were in the Championship under Allardyce. You know, he sort of you have maybe not the same ability, obviously, but it's the impact they have on the team. But as soon as they've got here, you know, you mentioned Adama Traore there and um, Antonio. If Antonio plays and Traore plays, there might just be like cracks in the pitch if they two come together and start, trying to outmuscle each other for the ball. That's like two Hulks coming together, and if Antonio can stay fit for this game as well, there should be sparks flying. But as a manager, that Nuno he's been linked to quite a few jobs now. The Spurs job, I think, when Pochettino left, the Arsenal job is still being linked with because they haven't got a new permanent manager yet. And they're just a very good team, and they've beaten us last season. They look really effective as a team. They seem to know what they're doing, and to be honest with you, we've looked the complete opposite for the last so many games. They've got direction. They know where they're going. The thing, them getting to the Europa League is actually part of their plan. It's not that they're just qualified and suddenly thinking, oh shit, right, what do we do now? Let's try and get somewhere in Europe. You can tell that the moment they got this investment in, the moment that the agents started bringing the players in, the moment they got promotion, they were like, right, we're here, we're Premier League, we're going to take this. They've even got plans apparently to extend Molineux, make it a bigger ground and what have you, And it's for them. If they can keep it going, they could be a very very solid outfit. And really, we should take a leaf out of their book, and try and emulate what they're doing.
It looks like only Liverpool have delivered more winning. Where am I going with that? Ignore that part. Ignore that. I've lost my train of thought for that one. Like I said, Wolves are unbeaten in the last 9 games, so they're looking to remain unbeaten in 10 consecutive top-flight matches. Although Nuno Santos' side have drawn more Premier League matches than any other team since the start of last season, 17 games. We'll come on to West Ham. I know this. I'm trying to keep this on to Wolves just now. Is there something to be taken from the game at all? Does the rumours of Nuno being linked to the Arsenal job have an effect on them, Richard?
It can only do. If you linked with the Arsenal job, it has to filter through to the players. Sure, even if he's not going, the players know that Nuno's mind is half on Arsenal, half on Wolves, half Europa League, half Premier League. So it's bound to disrupt them somewhat. But I still think they're a solid unit and they're a professional side. I've watched them this season. I guess their fans can get frustrated because, as you said, they have been drawing a lot of games. And picking up a point every now and then is not great. Obviously, you'd rather have 3, and that's why they're not as high up in the table as where they'd like to be. But for sure, we can get a result. Smaller sides, and I hate to say it, but smaller sides have gone to Molineux and got results. So we've got to take something from that at least.
Absolutely. So Wolves have played 14 games this season, won 4, lost 2. They scored 19 goals, conceded 7 with 3 clean sheets. So there's definitely, they do concede goals. The top goal scorer is Jimenez with the Mexican striker with 6 goals. Then it's Neves with 2. Jimenez is also their top assists with 3, but it's 3s all over. It's Moutinho and Traore as well. And we know that guy Traore from I think he made his debut. Did he not come on as a sub last year for Wolves and score against them at the last minute? Was it not? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, a couple of players that previously played for both clubs. Matt Jarvis, which, anyone got any great memories of Matt Jarvis? Is that me doing him injustice a bit?
Luke, do you want to
go? Yeah, do you know what I actually do? I remember Jarvis being a very effective crosser while at Wolves. Beat his man once, then popped the cross in with no one to get on the end of it at all. Then come to West Ham, prime Andy Carroll, and then decided to zigzag past every right back in the league, have both feet perfect for crossing, and then never ever ever put a cross in ever again, and then get all his crosses blocked if he did. So Jarvis was 10 million. That I think roughly now 7 years later he's trying to get in the Walsall team or something like that. He's like a League One player now or something along them lines. And
He actually holds the record for
yeah,
Wolves in the Premier League for appearances, 108 appearances in the Premier League for Wolves. I don't know if you knew that. And he's sitting fourth for their all-time goal scorer in the Premier League as well.
do you know what's funny, right? When Allardyce first come to the club, or we first got promoted, I remember when we bought Jarvis, and it was almost like every West Ham fan in unison, and you could just, even if they were like 800 miles away, you'd be able to feel the reaction as well, just going, oh, here we go. This is Allardyce all over. This is a game plan. There's going to be nothing in it at all. This is going to be a complete game plan. That was it. It was almost unpredictable. Unfortunately, it was more predictable than we could have predicted because Jarvis was shit when he came with 10 million. So cheers for that, Matt. Yeah, Brent over. Brent over.
Before we move on to West Ham, just to give you some head-to-head results, this will be the 64th meeting between West Ham and Wolves. West Ham winning 29 of them, Wolves winning 20 of those victories with 14 draws, and obviously in more recent years, in the kind of early noughties, most of those games fixtures took place in the Championship. But let's move on to our beloved West Ham that've come off on a fantastic victory at Stamford Bridge away from home. I mean, let's be honest, lads. Did any of you two expect that or anything from that game at all?
Not at all. Going into it, obviously we'd been terrible for the past 7 games, so I didn't see us getting anything. I thought we were going to get battered 3 or 4. Obviously, Tammy Abraham not playing kind of gave us a glimmer of hope, and we made the most of it. Fantastic result, and just so typical West Ham. It's just literally such a West Ham thing to do. Lose 7 or whatever, haven't won in 7 games, go to the Bridge, get a result against Fat Frank. But yeah, I didn't expect it at all. And honestly, I don't know what West Ham side's going to turn up tomorrow night as well.
Look, how important was it that David Martin stepped into those boots that we've been struggling with since Fabianski's been injured? How important? I mean, I'm not for booing West Ham players, but it was inevitable that Roberto had to step out of that position. So how important was it that the players had someone that they felt confident at least passing the ball back to?
You say step into the boots, you step into the gloves, really.
Yeah, it's true.
It's true. Shit joke, but I thought, go with that. Yeah. To be fair, you say you don't want to boo West Ham players. Yeah, I guarantee you would love it if the fans started booing Bonner.
Never.
Because you just have this thing.
Never with the
shit, and he's not in a good season. So no, you wouldn't. But underneath your breath, you go, make a mistake.
Never.
Prove the point. No. Anyway, yes. By the way, also, if people think I'm not paying attention to this video and I'm looking away all the time, I'm watching the Premier League on Amazon. I've just signed up to the deal, so that's why I'm being a bit distracted.
Signed up to the free trial for 30 days.
Yeah, I'm being a right cheapskate and doing it that way. I've seen a loophole in my life. I'm going to go for it. Yeah, it was. Do you know what? He seemed really nervous, but at the same time, it was like refreshing to see that the fans could sort of get behind a goal. And there was ironic cheers, and they weren't against him. It was because, oh look, there's a goalkeeper actually catch a ball. Yeah. I didn't agree with the ironic cheers against Roberto. I didn't, Buck's pretty a nice guy, but he just ain't cut for the league. And fans have every right to voice their opinion. And when you're a Premier League player, you're getting paid a lot of money to do that job, and you're not doing it well, then you get criticism. But I must admit, I was a bit taken back by the reaction after the game. I didn't think he was going to be that emotional about it. I didn't know that all the stories coming out that he couldn't eat 2 days before the game. And you just kind of think, oh, these players, first Premier League game, clap, nice one, cheers, see you next week. But he was really, I was a bit, I was pissed at me up when I was after the game. I was too happy to even realize what was going on. But when I saw the reaction later on Facebook and Twitter, I was like, wow,
Is that not what you want to see if it was a West Ham fan? Even more so the fact that we won the game. But is that not what you want to see after the last, 2 months of... And it has been crap. It has been really crap as a West Ham fan. Again, it's been that other roller coaster. We're back into negative vibes. We get the fans that are getting carried away with everything. The season's over. Let's get the flags back out. Let's get the banners back out. But, we pop up against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. I mean, a good Chelsea side. I mean, Lampard's come in there. He has worked with the youth, and they do look like they press forward, and West Ham managed everything that came towards them. We stepped up. We could have won the game 2 or 3 we could have scored 2 or 3 goals.
Mm.
Martin didn't have a huge amount to do, but what he did do was offer that confidence in the back line. But then seeing Martin at the end, I mean, I think one of the comments I wrote straight away was the guy's crying. Like it was like emotions. Like I wanted to cry because he was crying because he was bringing that out, and I think that's what the West Ham fans probably needed to see was he wore that shirt with pride. And I tell you what, guys, like especially after having Roberto, having someone who knows West Ham inside out from the back, viewing it like must just give players a shitload of confidence.
Do you know? I will say something now that there's 3 things we can take from this game before I forget to say this, and one of them is the result is brilliant, the performance was fantastic, taking nothing away from that, but it's also really annoying the fact that they can do it that game. They couldn't do it the last. And there's also factors into it going, okay, this was maybe there was a massive factor with the team that because Roberto was in goal and they weren't confident with the goalkeeper, that they were playing this really nervous performance because they couldn't step too far and forward, they couldn't attack too much, they didn't have to defend because they were too shit scared of what Roberto was going to do. And maybe it did have a bigger effect than us fans could contemplate. We don't see the thing on the training ground every day. We don't see how the players are reacting to it as well. The third thing is perhaps they really actually are behind Pellegrini, because if you're not behind if you're not behind a manager's ideas, if you're not behind his tactics, you're not behind him, you don't want to play for him. You don't go out and play that game for him. You don't go and push yourself against a team who are very good and could easily beat you and play like the way we did. So perhaps there is something more to this Pellegrini thing, and he's not just okay, we're not getting results. I don't agree with Pellegrini's tactics or formations, but at some point you've got to go, look, if the players are behind him, you're never going to agree with everything the manager's going to do, put out. Maybe we have just got to put up and shut up with Pellegrini for the season. Just go, look, if we can play like this under him, I'm all for it. You know what I mean?
I was talking earlier on today to someone, and I was talking about we all talk about inconsistencies, but when you really look through West Ham side, there's kind of like 3 or 4 players that are consistently chosen. Now, this is the thing that worries me the most with Pellegrini. You've got your Noble, you've got your Rice, and you've got your Felipe Anderson. They're the 3 kind of within reason, the most consistent players that are chosen are always in that starting 11. But the rest, if you look through the stats for the rest of the season, you look at Creswell, you look at Fredericks, they're in and out. You look at, even now, Sebastian Aller looks like he's going to be in and out. You look at Snodgrass, he's in and out. You look at Yarmolenko, he's in and out. Ogbonna, he's in and out. Balbuena, he's in and out. Diop's in and out. It's the inconsistencies in team selection, tactics. Those things concern me. So it's a bit like if West Ham player has a shit game, he's out of the game the next game. And I don't agree with that. I totally don't agree with that. And that's the thing that concerns me the most with Pellegrini. But look, I know I see your face there, but when you look at a lot of other sides that have this, this mentality, like, so for example, I might be using this, but let's use Leicester City as an example. They're currently on a great run. No, but I have to use it because, let's be honest, right? They are punching above their weight. They've got
I'll say something in a minute.
They've got a great squad, a great team, and a great manager. But they're definitely punching above their weight on paper. On paper, they are. But they've got consistency in team selections. Now, Leicester have been beaten this year. Didn't change much the next game because they knew they had confidence in the faith in that side. My biggest concern was we were chopping and changing because we were trying to be tactically clever. We came up against Sheffield United's and Newcastle's, and we put Zabaleta in there, who just couldn't cope with the pace. And then we just switched, brought Yarmolenko. He came back from an injury. He scored a goal. He played well. Next game he played, he was gone distant. He played 45 minutes and he was shafted out of the game. And it's just things like that just don't do the players confidence. West Ham are West Ham, and we don't have the Manchester City and the Liverpool, head over us, which means we can manage these egos to the extent we think we can. Look, go for it.
My only thing with this is that yes, okay, Leicester and all this and all the teams in the top 6 and what have you have a nailed on normal level. You more or less know who they're playing, right? Our team is not at that level. And I guarantee you, if you walk around pre-match to a lot of our fans, right, and you say, name your starting 11, name your fully fit starting 11, name your team available right now, I guarantee you 75% of the choices will be different. There's Fredericks, he's got a lot of pace and he's a lot faster, he can tell with a tempo at right back, right? But apart from that, if you ask most fans who starts at left back, who starts at centre back, who starts in the midfield, who starts in the wing, I guarantee you not a lot of fans will agree. you're going to say Yarmolenko, or I'll have Anderson in the hole, I'd have Anderson in the wing. And what about Antonio? I'd have him up top with Haller.
I agree.
Okay,
I agree with that.
who plays in the middle though? So it's a bit like, okay, fans can say Pellegrini doesn't know starting 11. We don't know our starting 11.
Yeah, but we don't need to know our starting
We're not
11.
the
Though.
manager.
I know
We're not the
I
We're
know
not the
manager.
manager, though.
I know, I get that, right? But when you look at that team man for man, do you not go? I don't blame Pellegrini for not knowing his starting 11 because
No, I
you know
do.
who's a standout player between Balbuena and Diop? Who's a standout player between Creswell and Mazuaku at left back? Who's a standout player instead? Okay, you got Rice, but Noble has 3 good game in 5, 2 good game in 5.
Yeah.
It's not grass. Will come on and have a good game in the midfield. Then we're going, oh no, he's a right winger though, so chuck him back out the
Yeah, but
right wing. So where did Yarmolenko play?
But that's the point we're trying to make. Like, even I'm trying to make is like, it's like Noble has 2 good games in 5 or 3 good games in 5, but we're changing the rest of the team every single game, and we're getting no games in 5. So I would rather have consistency over 2 or 3 games in 5 than having a 7 game
okay,
not winning or getting a point. Do you know what I mean?
That's fine. But what if you consistently pick that team week in, week out, and it loses week in, week out?
Well, then you've got to give that a run, though. You've got to give it a good month or 4 or 5 weeks. It's a little bit like you calling out Anderson to start, and I think most fans probably agree in that. Put Anderson in the central attacking midfield. There are fans, like your point was made, that think Anderson should be dropped. Whereas I'm more on the mindset of I actually think you should play him because the guy's forward thinking. He's constantly forward thinking. So play him in the hole, in behind whoever's going to be up top, and let him penetrate those defenses. But
I get that.
You know, what were you going to say?
So I'm sorry, I can't. I get interrupting you, but I just can't. I've got this at the tip of my tongue.
Go.
Who would have started 4 hours against Chelsea?
No, I wouldn't.
So he's a different selection, and we've got a win out of it.
But I tell you what, contradicting. Well, it's not even contradicting to my comment. I don't want Fornals to start against Wolves, but I kind of do because it goes against my point. Consistency is what we need. So in theory, we need consistency. So I wouldn't on paper I wouldn't choose Fornals. But I think for consistency reasons, the boy got an assist. He had an okay game. Not the best game, but had an okay game. So he deserves the start. It shouldn't be that Pellegrini steps up and goes, we're going Wolves away. Now we're going to drop Fornals because his confidence is going to drop. Yarmolenko's going to be coming in and going like, what the? Here we go again. Like, I'm in and out and I'm in and out.
It's worrying that Pellegrini doesn't know what his best 11 is and that he can't trust certain players. But at the same time, what I will say is he made some ballsy calls for that Chelsea game and it came off. So fair play to him on that side because, I mean, he's come on a lot of criticisms. Fair enough. I wanted him out before the Chelsea game. I still kind of feel I'm giving him 2 or 3 more games. If it doesn't improve, I still want him out. I'm not going to let one good result paper over what's been a really poor last 8 games.
No, I agree.
Yeah. What were we going to say? Anything else on that point, Lukey boy?
I was only going to say one more thing. It was the fact that a lot of fans after the Newcastle game, I think it was, when Zabaleta still played at right back, and people were saying all this information was coming out that Pellegrini doesn't look at other teams, doesn't go right. That player suits this player. That player suits this team because of so and so's pace on the wing, because of so and so's technique on the wing, whatever have you. So in that sense, it's like, well, okay, you want consistency, but then people also go, well, you can't play him against them because they're more of a physical team. You can't play him against them because they're more of a technical ability team. So it's a bit like, well, okay, then what do? Then you are stuck because you want consistency, but you can't have blind consistency just because he's played well the next game or because he's this player, he's that player. Because if you're going up against the Burnley team and you're playing a team who don't want to get stuck in and don't want to fight, but that is consistent because you played that same team last week, then people are kind of got to go, well, what do you actually want? Because you're asking Pellegrini to try and evaluate the team, but then you're also asking him to start the same team just due to consistency. I totally get what you're saying.
I can't help but think, though, if you talk about those 2 games in particular, about Newcastle and Sheffield United, I can't help but think if Fredericks was in those positions,
I get that.
It wasn't defensively that beat West Ham. It was the pace of Zabaleta because the balls were shut down that wing, left, right, and centre, and that was the problem. And we could talk about tactics, and we've gone about that in a minute. Let's come back onto the game in particular. Richard, we've got, again, the inconsistency in centre-half selection. We've got Ogbonna, who's been the most consistent defender for us in terms of starting this season. We've got the mixture between Balbuena, Diop, Ogbonna, rotation. God knows who's going to start. Now Diop was missing, which was not a bad thing because he had a terrible game against Tottenham. I know you've been giving him a bit of criticism recently. What would you do, and what do you think Pellegrini will do for the game against Wolves in the centre halves?
I'd play Ogbonna, Balbuena. I thought they were really, really good against Chelsea. Ogbonna has been my hammer of the year this season. Quite a few people share the same views as me. But yeah,
just to reiterate, according to Stell, 56% of 344 people agree your point. It's a great poll, Stell. Great poll.
Ogbonna has been our most consistent defender for the last 9 games easily. I thought Fredericks was really good defensively against Chelsea. I still think that he really needs to work on his crossing. For a right back, for a Premier League right back, you've got to be crossing better than he has been. And obviously Cresswell's popped up with a goal now, so he's full of confidence. So I'd play that standard back 4. I wouldn't change anything. I think Diop's really, really struggled over the last couple of games. I don't know what's really happened to him, but he just needs a spell out of the side. And there's nothing wrong with bringing in Balbuena now and just letting him forge a partnership with Ogbonna, who's the main presence at the back. So personally, I wouldn't change anything. I'd keep the exact same side. I'd even keep Haller on the bench if Antonio's fit.
Yeah. Look, anything you want to add to that?
Well, no, I totally agree, and I know really, Anton, you say you want to drop Ogbonna because if you're your way. No, hold on. If you had your way, Ogbonna would be handing out cones before the game even started. So that would be your wish. But no, this is the consistency thing. Is that why on earth would you drop Balbuena and put Diop straight in? That makes literally no sense at all. But just on the defence side of things, I don't know where Cresswell's come from, but it's almost like prime Scouse Roberto Carlos. Like, fucking have that lad, bottom corner, fucking 1-0. He has become the 2016 Cresswell that we've missed so much. But yeah, that back line stays the same. Martin stays the same. So yeah, I mean, unlucky for you, Anton, because Ogbonna's smashing it right now. But yeah.
Let's move swiftly onto our midfield. For me personally, I think a lot of people thought Anderson had a quietish-ish game against Chelsea. But if you look at the build-up played for the goal, it was Anderson that was involved in the build-up play. He just has that, in my opinion, that spatial awareness, that visualization of a forward pass, of the penetration of defence. Is that something that we need to see more of? Let's remind ourselves of when Anderson hit form this time last year, was about this time last year, when it came into the winter, when he was put through the centre of the midfield, and he gave us his best return with goals and assists. Richard?
Yeah, I mean, he was excellent this time last season. He's been less than a shadow of that this campaign, and I get really frustrated watching him play because we know how good he can be going forward, we know how much flair he has, and we know the ability that he has to bring other players into the game. But what I will say is that he needs to harden up. I've seen about 5 or 6 50-50s in the last 3 games that he's barely even gone into. And for me as a West Ham fan, that's unacceptable. So in dire times that we find ourselves in, we need players that are going to give 120%. And that's, for me, why someone like Snodgrass has to be playing week in, week out now. He's just some legs in the middle of the park. He might not be the best technical player, but for me, I'd have Snodgrass on that team list before Anderson. I still think Anderson will start against Wolves because Yarmolenko's been no better. Obviously, Ajeti's barely got any game time. But I just think that midfield, when you look at Rice, Noble, and Snodgrass, Snoddy's that engine in there. And give Anderson a free role. You don't want him to be on one side of the coin, you want him to be getting stuck in. On the other side, you kind of want him to just be playing that free role. It shouldn't even be his job to be getting back. Let Rice, Nobes, and Snoddy do all the dirty work. Let Anderson play a bit more of a free role, and then he can free up Antonio.
Yeah. Luke, have you got anything on that? I mean, let's realistically have a think about this. It looks like the news we're hearing is that Antonio is going to face a late fitness test. I don't, even if he is going to have a late fitness test, I don't particularly see Pellegrini risking him. I don't think he needs. Well, I don't know. I don't think he should risk him because he's just come back from his injury. I think Sebastian Haller can fulfill that position if and only if Anderson is in behind him, feeding him that. What's your thoughts on that, Luke?
Do you know what? I defended Haller to the hill when he wasn't scoring goals, when he was doing all the hold-up play, and people were moaning it wasn't getting, enough goals, wasn't getting up front enough, wasn't getting the box enough, and I kept defending him. But the last couple of games that Antonio's been involved in, he has just proved that to me, Haller's not doing anywhere near enough up top on his own. Yes, okay, he's on his own, he's isolated, he hasn't got much, but in a way of just movement and just physical presence, Antonio I don't know, he just brought a new presence, and it is. Look, keep Antonio fit. You got to manage him. Unfortunately, you have to manage him right now. He's gone through. He's done fantastic well the last two games, but you've got to be a bit sensible with it. But Haller now needs to step up, and I'm not saying he's got to be the same player as Antonio is. He might not even be anywhere near the same presence, power, pace, whatever you want to call it. But he needs to do more, and you can see that perhaps Haller's just going, I'm the target man, I'm too used to this. You've got to get him, manager's got to get him in, manage him better and say, look, put yourself about a bit. He's a fucking nearly 7 foot bloke. The guy's a colossal. Yep. If he throws himself about, he is going to cause problems. I don't think he does that enough. But talking about Anderson and all that, I think he has to be managed well. There's something wrong with him confidence-wise because he's looked a completely different player against Chelsea. He looked up for it. Yes, he made a few mistakes. Yes, he bottled the tackles and stuff like that. I didn't like that either. But he looked a completely different animal against Chelsea, and that needs to be. He's got something. He's got something a lot better than I think he's been showing. I think he's got a lot more to give, and the manager needs to get it out of him as well. And also, how he's still grass early 30s. He's become prime McMessi in the last 2 or 3 games. You see the way he beasted past the Chelsea left back. He was up for it, mate.
His work rate, it's nuts.
He is having it. He's having it.
Yeah, he's having it, mate. Robert in our chat has made a valid point there about playing 2 up front. Now, I was talking again to someone else today, and they were talking about Antonio. And would you, if you are going to integrate Haller back into the side, would you bring Antonio back into midfield? And my answer to that question was absolutely not. I want to see this Antonio causing havoc with the support of Sebastian Haller up top, and then having the 3 lads. Now, I know this is not going to happen for this game, but it's something that I visualize in the future with the Snodgrass, Anderson, Rice, Noble at the back, all doing the jobs that they're designed to do. But you can't deny. I mean, like we've all said, Antonio causes complete and utter havoc. He's so like he's beast mode, as we all know, but he's just an awkward player to play against. He always seems to win something if he's out on their wing and nothing's happening. Apart from that game against Crystal Palace when he should have just held onto the ball and not gave it away. Let's forget that one. But when he came back against Tottenham, he lifted the side. And he was just like winning everything, and he was causing like a throw in. Like against all the odds, we'd get a throw in a good position. Against all the odds, we'd get a corner and nothing. He would just get the ball and he would attack, and that's something I want to see West Ham do. I want to see West Ham attack more. I am concerned about our defence because we do concede goals. I've just looked at the stats there. I think we've conceded 23 this season, and we are West Ham. We do concede goals. The last 3 or 4 seasons we have. So it looks like we need to try and outscore our opposition. And until we sort that defence out and Fabianski's back and we start building that core, again, we're going to have to outscore our opposition. And I think that's probably going to be the only way. Let McMessi, Noble, Rice do their job. Let Antonio, Haller and Anderson do their job and have these other guys coming in off the side. But I don't think that's going to happen for this game. Team selection, we've all pretty much decided defence is not going to change. Are we in agreement on that?
Yeah.
Are you in agreement on that, Luke?
Yeah. Sorry, yeah. Sorry.
Midfield? Is it the only player that looks like he might miss the game is going to be Antonio, but we don't know that for sure.
Yeah.
If it was me, I'd put. Sorry, Rich, you go.
No, go for it.
No. See, I insist, Jen. I insist, please.
Okay, yeah. personally, I wouldn't change it as well. I know, Ant, you said that you don't want Fornals to play, but I mean, I'm just looking at our bench from the game, and you've got Yarmolenko, Haller, Ajeti. Those are attacking players. And for me, I don't think Yarmolenko is doing enough at the moment. I'd keep him on the bench. You want hungry players that know that their places aren't up for grabs. I mean,
Yeah.
sorry, that you know that their place is up for grabs. So for me, I'd keep Ala on the bench and I'd keep Yarmolenko on the bench. You want those two coming on hungry. There's nothing wrong with bringing someone on like Sebastian Haller in the 70th minute and letting him bulldoze the centre backs. But I just think, as we've spoken about, Antonio just offers so much more in terms of getting behind, spinning players. Players love getting tight to Antonio. They never learn, and he just spins them.
Yeah.
But it all depends on the fitness test. But I'd play Fornals. I think he's growing into a West Ham shirt slowly but surely. Obviously, he was really, really struggling at the beginning, but he's starting to really grow into playing under Pellegrini. So I'd keep him in the side.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, Richard, I do agree. Like, I got to go against. Like, I'm not even going to go against it. On paper, I would think I would want Yarmolenko over Fornals, but I have to go with consistency, and he's done all right in the last game, so he's got to get a chance to shine in the claret and blue, or the white that we'll probably be wearing tomorrow. Look, you look like you're going to make a point on any changes in the side.
Yeah, it's weird. I'm not going to put out a set formation. I'll just say that I'd start with maybe Yarmolenko over Fornals purely because it's a bit much to ask for now to once again come up with a really good performance in a totally different style of away game. I can see Wolves being a bit more physical than Chelsea. Chelsea were a very technical team, but not having such a static midfield, i.e., maybe start with Anderson just in front of Noble and Rice with Snodgrass on the right, and then when we're on certain attacks, change it to Anderson on the left with Snodgrass in the middle, and I would play Yarmolenko because I don't think Yarmolenko's he's been in bad form, but this is the sort of game where you're thinking, okay, right, hold on, we've just beaten Chelsea, right? If you now want to get in this team, you got to prove your point. So this is now Yarmolenko going, hold on, Antonio's back, certain players on the wing, like I need to start putting in the performance. So if he gets in, perhaps he'll put himself up, trying to put his own performances in and get credibility that way. And personally, I would start Haller, and I'd keep Antonio on the bench, giving him an impact sub. But this is the wake up call that Haller needs. Thinking, hold on, boy, this is what you need to do. So also, I see the Wolves management going right. They're going to start with Antonio because he's come back to full fitness and he's been an impact player. So if they think, oh, hold on, was Antonio Haller? So suddenly the whole defensive game has changed as well. But I wouldn't change it that much, apart from taking Fornals out to the bench. I know it might sound harsh, but I think it's too much to ask of him to put two good performances in back to back. Just me personally.
Yeah, that's fine, mate. That's fine. Get your comments in on the chat. Let us know who you would like for team selection. And before we go into our predictions for the game, make sure you get your comments in now on your predictions for the game. And if we get a chance, we'll read some of them out at the end. So it has come to that interesting time. Has been a while. I'll go over to you, Luke, first for your prediction. Molyneux, away from home. Wolves sitting sixth in the league against West Ham 13th. Come off a good win. Wolves going for a record. What do you predict?
You're right. We'll go over my head, over my heart. I know you said about all the draws earlier and me going 3-0 earlier. I'd love Martin to get another clean sheet and definitely have another good performance, but I can't really see it happening again. So I'm going to go for a 2-2, seeing as our Wolves are drawn so much, and I very much doubt we're going to come out and get the same sort of victory. So I'd say 2-2. I'd say a Snodgrass goal just for his industry, and Anderson to get a goal. I think he's due a goal right now, and if he plays the same way against Chelsea, I'm sure he'll get one. So Neves is obviously going to score from 50 yards out, so that's bound to happen. And Jimenez, because he's so amazing, is going to pass it to Traore, who I'd like to remind everyone we were linked with for like several months before he went to Wolves, and then played brilliant for them. So well done West Ham. There's no one who got your fucking pocket, but yeah, Traore and Neves for them, and then Anderson and Snodgrass for us.
Cool. 2 each. A point. Richard?
I think that the Chelsea game papered over cracks, if I'm honest, and I haven't seen enough in the last 8. But I'm going to be confident, and I'm going to say we'll get a 1-1 draw. I just think Wolves love a draw. We will be confident after the last game. So, yeah, there's no reason why we can't pick up a point at Molineux. They haven't been watertight at home, so there's always a chance we can nick 1 or 2.
Cool. So 2 draws from you guys to add to the draw team of the Premier League. Listen, guys, I've said it from day one. I am a half glass full rather than a half glass empty of a West Ham fan. I'm too positive, and I have to continue this positivity. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory to West Ham away from home.
Go on, Anne.
The fans are get an early Christmas present, and things are going to start looking rosy, and everyone's going to start commenting and saying how Silos is the best talented scout out there, and Pellegrini's the best manager they've ever seen in their life. Welcome to the fickle West Ham fans. Anyway, I'm still going to go for a 2-1 victory to West Ham. So listen, I've got to stay positive. That's what I'm going to do. And to be fair, you guys are positive as well. Point away from home. That'd be 4 points in 2. I'll take that. Welsh Hammers coming in saying 1 each, and a few other people are saying they'd be happy with a hard and even lucky draw. People are coming in to say Wolves are going to win 2-0, back to the same levels. I think there's always that concern in the back of our minds, but as long as Pellegrini changes his tactics, keeps the consistency, and the players turn up and give a bit of fight, that's all we'll ask for, and that's where we can start. We've got to build from somewhere, so let's hope it's a big if. Before we go, just let you all know, Richard is actually coming all the way over from South Africa, Johannesburg, to London for 2 weeks in about a week and a half. He will be making 2 of the home games and hopefully 1 of the away games. So we will be looking out for anyone that's wanting to come on our review shows that we're doing when he's over, and also we'll try and get a couple of nights out as well. So if anyone's interested in meeting up, let us know, get the comments in, DM us, DM the guys on Twitter, get us contact us on Facebook.
Yeah, I would be extra interested in meeting up, but if you give me the right dates in the first place to come and meet him, rather give me the wrong date. Prat. Yeah, just take the hint. I don't want to see you when I come over, so stay away. I'll just come see you at the football. Yeah, all right, nice one. Yeah.
You love
Looking forward to it, Richard. Looking forward to it. I know. By the way, I also like this. I look forward to this new setup we're doing now, because I can actually see the comments that pop up on the screen by our names, and I'm on my phone doing this, so I can never see that before in the old setup. And if I get any hateful comments, I can always see it. If I see good comments, I can always see it as well.
The comments are controlled by whoever's controlling the feed, so I don't have to put the comments up. So I've just been putting them up for banter. Anyway, just to let you know, we are back in touch with our partners at the Official Supporters Club. They have moved to a new location, which is called The Last Drop, which is now officially the closest, or it was always, but now is officially closest West Ham pub to the football stadium. A fantastic location to hang out, have a couple of drinks. Good music's going to be played. It's going to be some grub, and then literally you can fall out of the pub and walk to the stadium in 10 minutes. Obviously, maybe add on an extra 7 or 8 minutes through security gates. But apart from that, it is officially the closest one to the stadium. So make sure you check out the Supporters Club. It's £2 entry on the door. Of course, we are in partnership with Umbro. We'll be trying to get some more competitions up soon and let you know. Anyway, get behind West Ham. Just keep following them and keep supporting them. Stop being negative. And yeah, over there, it's been Luke. In the middle, it's been Richard. And of course, I've been Anton. We're Irons United. Come on, you Irons.
Come on, you Irons.
Irons.
See you on the